Folks, let's continue this discussion with my dear friend Kellyanne Conway. I want to talk about the politics of appeasement, which is a big deal. Kellyanne's former counselor to President Trump. She ran the campaign back in 2016. Fox News contributor, author of a very good book. Here's the deal. Kellyanne, welcome back. You know, I don't think this Biden weakness is playing very well. I don't think appeasing Iran, appeasing China, appeasing Russia. You know, I don't know. You tell me. But I don't. I'm reading reports. I know he's dead in the water on Bidenomics, but I don't think foreign policy is helping him at all. What do you think?
Larry, actually, in all the latest polling, including the Quinnipiac poll that was released today, Joe Biden scores the worst on his handling of the border. 65% disapproval, followed by his handling of foreign policy, 61% disapproval. And so, sure, he's got about 6 in 10 Americans saying they disapprove handling on the economy. That's baked in. We've all known that. But the foreign policy numbers are pretty perplexing for the following reason. The sales pitch that so many independents and other people who voted for Joe Biden made was, oh, well, at least we'll get back to somebody who's got experience on the world stage, who can broker deals across the aisle with senators like Roger Marshall on Israel funding. It turns out he doesn't have these relationships across the aisle. He's as partisan as anybody in Washington. And Larry, for somebody in Joe Biden who was vice president for 8 years, he was a Senate Foreign Relations Committee chairman for a number of years, in the swamp for over half a decade, you would think the one value that he would bring to the table is on foreign policy, and yet America is giving him his worst scores. Larry, it all started with the chaotic and irrational pullout of Afghanistan. That really was when his honeymoon was over in late August of 2021. His numbers have been eroding ever since. In that same Quinnipiac poll today, Quinnipiac has Trump beating Biden for the first time all year. More importantly than presidential politics 2024 is that there's no confidence in Joe Biden's ability to handle all the crises and chaos. The White House we were in, Larry, crisis and chaos in tweets. Now it's crisis everywhere you look. Look south at the border, look at Ukraine, look at Israel, look at Iran. Iran was dead in the water when we left that administration. They were begging to make deals. Now they're a huge oil exporter again, stockpiling billions of cash. And what have they done with it? They're funding Hezbollah and Hamas.
You know, I think, I'm reading all these polls, New York Times, CNN polls, lots of polls, but I think the average, Kellyanne, think about this. The Republican Party under Donald Trump is the party of the working class. Doesn't matter whether you're white or non-white. Working class people want Trump. That's what these data points are showing. And you got all these left of center columnists writing about that. So, Kellyanne, here's my thought. These kinds of folks, people that, you know, may not have a college education, right? They don't have a PhD. They may work with their hands. They may slug it out every single day to make ends meet. They can barely afford it. They may have to have a couple of jobs in the family. They want to see a president who stands up to Xi, who stands up to Iran, who stands up to Putin. You know what I mean? Not backs down, not ignores it, not namby-pamby. I mean, I think they want a tough hand in the White House.
Toughness and resoluteness is very important to voters. And Larry, the opposite of strength obviously is weakness. And so we're going from peace through strength to appeasement through weakness. But you hit on something important. Let's roll the tape backwards. In 2015 and 2016, how did Donald Trump beat 17 other Republicans and indeed beat Hillary Clinton when the majority of the voters were female? In part, it was because he took on the tough fight. So he said, China's eating our lunch. We have to push back on them. We are sending our wealth and our jobs overseas. And he stood up to China. He recalibrated the trade deals with Japan, with Korea, with Mexico, with Canada, and with China. And he took issues, Larry, here's the key, and no one else has the courage to do it seems. He took issues that were mired in single digits in polling, like illegal immigration was at 5% in most polls. Trade, Larry, wasn't even asked on most polls as most important issue. And he said, you know what, but trade is an issue of fairness and patriotism and workers and bringing back manufacturing base. And when you connect all that together and you talk to people about things that are already bothering them. The other thing, Larry, and you were a big part of this, of course, not everybody should be pushed into these 4-year colleges to graduate with debt and no skill set. We were encouraging people to go ahead and get the skills certificates and go be welders.
Well, okay, I get that. We'll do that another topic, different time. But I'm just saying, people may not be very sophisticated about all this foreign, international stuff, but I think they just want an American president who is tough. Stand
strong.
up. Strong. That's the right word. Okay, that's what they want, and they're not seeing it.
It's simple.
I gotta get out, but they're not seeing it,
simple.
Kellyanne. Yeah, it is simple. You're right. You're dead right.
Well, they're seeing the opposite.
Peace and prosperity.
They're seeing the opposite. Larry, just quickly, in open-ended questions, when you
Peace
ask them to
through
describe
strength.
Joe Biden, you hear weakness, feeble, all of that.
Yeah,
Strength.
Namby-pamby, I coined that one. Kellyanne Conway, the best of the best. Good to see you. I miss you as always.